spiritual brothers and sisters, firstly, I want to express my greetings for your meeting. I consider such meeting, I think, very relevant and very important. The reason I always is asking people, and also I myself, whether now in 21st century, I think generally over 2,000-year-old these different religious traditions relevant or not. Then, if these very old tradition not much relevant to today's world, then not necessary to take care or to think seriously. But I think human being, basically or generally, human being, because of this intelligence, see, when we're passing through difficult period or desperate situation, beyond your control, some difficulties, some painful experience beyond our control, then religious faith, you see, very helpful to keep our hope. So, all our ancestors, I think they really got, I think, immense benefit from faith. And then I think all major religious traditions carrying the message of love. And in order to, carry love, affection, effectively, you also need practice of tolerance, forgiveness, and self-discipline. So then, today's world, a lot of problem, actually our own creation. Here, big contradiction, according to scientists and also according to our own experience. Basic human nature is more compassionate. The very our lives sort of start. See, we survived and grow properly in the atmosphere of mother's affection and family's affection. So this physical also, you see, go very well with more compassionate mind. This physical not go well with anger, fear, stress, suspicion. So therefore, the old major religious tradition is really relevant, useful to today's world, I feel. I think last several decades, people pay much attention about material value. Now we already begin to feel the limitation of material value. A lot of people, materially, very successful, very rich, but as an individual, in emotional level, unhappy, too much stress. So therefore, various different religious traditions, I feel, very relevant to this world. Then, so therefore, now in order to carry the message of love, tolerance to other people, firstly, we religious believer ourselves should practice, and with that, sadly now today, in the name of religion, some conflict, some division, some killing, really unthinkable. This very bad to show eyes of ordinary people, particularly non-believer, the religion also causing conflict. So therefore, religious harmony is very essential. Then obviously, today's 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And among those believers also, you see, different mental disposition. So some people, you see, find more effective like theistic religion based on faith of Creator, God. Some people, some other tradition, more effective. So that's reality. Like medicine, see, the different illness, we need different variety of medicine. Just one medicine, not sufficient. Therefore, over 1,000 years, these different religious traditions live side by side. Particularly India is the example. Over 3,000–4,000 years, different religious traditions already developed and live together. So therefore, religious harmony is possible. We really need, firstly, still we need religious faith. And then, in order to use religious faith more effectively to the society, harmony is very essential. So this conference, I feel, very, very useful. Then among these different religious traditions, Buddhist tradition, of course, in a way, you say, like Jainism and Buddhism and one part of Sankhyaism, no concept of creator. So we are nihilist from a certain viewpoint. But you know, because since there's no concept of creator, so everything depends on ourselves. So it emphasis training our own mind. So in this country, India, these three historical sort of non-theistic tradition is very much emphasis training of our mind. We call single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation. In order to carry these practice effectively, you should have the fuller knowledge about our emotion, about our mind, whole system of our emotion. That I feel now today's world, we are passing through some kind of crisis of emotion and such period. These knowledge is something useful. And these knowledge come from religious tradition, but we should consider these academic subject and also science of the method to bring inner peace. So I usually call the I usually call hygiene of physical, we usually study. Now we need the hygiene of emotion, very important. So therefore, regarding hygiene of emotion, as a sort of matter of the mental health, so we need certain sort of knowledge and how to train our mind, particularly our emotion, in order to bring inner peace. With inner peace, healthy body, and wonderful. Without inner peace, healthy body, not much meaningful. So therefore, these ancient Indian tradition, I think, very useful to today's world. And then including Buddhism. As far as Buddhism is concerned, there is basically two traditions. Pali tradition, Sanskrit tradition. Pali tradition is the basis or foundation of Buddha Dharma, Buddhism. And then Sanskrit tradition, so on that basis, the more emphasis reasoning. So therefore, the Sanskrit tradition, usually I call Nalanda tradition. We Tibetan Buddhist tradition, since 8th century, at that time, I think the topmost master or scholar of Nalanda, Shantarakshita, he invited to Tibet, and he introduced Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition. So we extensively use reasoning, investigate. So therefore, my own sort of personal experience over now 30 years, nearly 40 years, I have serious discussion with modern scientists, 4 fields: cosmology, neurobiology, and then physics, particularly quantum physics, then psychology. And these 4 fields discuss with scientists. It's really mutual learning. They also learning. They also get useful information from our tradition. We also, you see, find very useful information from them. So therefore, this tradition, not only as a religion, but I think academic sort of knowledge. So I totally committed to make contribution from my tradition. I never trying to propagate Buddhism. I always think how much from our tradition can make some contribution for people, including non-believer, in order to develop inner peace. So I think other tradition also, I hopefully, you see, think more about humanity. Then entire humanity will not become follower of one religion. Over 1,000 years, different religious traditions come. In the future, I think several centuries, I think different religious traditions will remain and will be beneficial to people. So harmony is very important. So I'm quite sure you're sort of getting there. I think certainly it can make some contribution regarding religious harmony and use religious, certain concepts come from different religious traditions. So you say how to use more effectively. I usually call secular way. Here I must make clear, according to Indian understanding, secular means respect all religion and also non-believer. I think that's very realistic. As I mentioned earlier, over 1 billion non-believer. These also human brothers, sisters. They also want peace of mind. They need peace of mind. So, therefore, I think secular way to serve humanity, I feel, more, realistic way. So, thank you.